All right, let's do this. Let's clean, let's declutter, and let's organize. I needed to get this house in tip-top shape because we were going on vacation. We are home now, but this was the day before we were leaving, and with our house being on the market, and so many things have changed, by the way, with our house being on the market, I need to make sure that before we left, this house was show ready. So we are literally tackling it all. I am stripping all the beds, making sure everything is clean. I really wanted to tackle the closet that holds all my different cleaning supplies. I've been wanting to tackle that for a while now, and I finally made the time to do it today. This was insane though. I got so much done on this day, way more than I normally get done in a single day, but I also knew it was now or nothing, because if I didn't get it all done and we left the house even slightly messy, it would end up being an issue if we had any showings while we were gone. As you can see, I'm in little Miss Freya's room. I didn't have too much that needed to get done in here. It was really just stripping her bed and then just putting some of her clothes up, but she's really good at keeping her room clean. So I had her finish up cleaning in there, and I just went on to start her bedding. I had to start this early in the morning. That's why you saw Freya yawning. I had to get her up because I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna get all the bedding done in one day, and usually I do this during 2 days, I knew I had to start right away in the morning. And I also had to deal with all of these boxes. So I just recently got a new vacuum. I go through vacuums about once every 3 years. I think it's just one of those things that, for me, we put our vacuums to the work. And about every 3 years, it's just time to get a new one for us. I know for some people that's like way too often. But like I said, I think we just they really get the work between the dog hair and the dust and the sand and everything. I've always found that about every 3 years, it is time for a new one. And that was part of the reason I wanted to get this closet dealt with. The new one I got, I really like because it stands up on its own. I'm not giving any recommendations on it quite yet because I haven't used it long enough to know exactly how well it works. But don't worry, you guys know me. Once I'm like confident in it, I will definitely share all the details, link it down below, all of those things. But I knew it had a charging thing that actually hung on the wall. So I wanted to get in here, re-clean this bottom section. I haven't cleaned out this closet in way too long. So it was in desperate need, as well as the shelves up above. I often, when I am done cleaning, I just throw stuff in here. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm done with this, and I just throw it in. I'm sure I am not the only one. For me, it's like, okay, it's organized because everything, I know where everything is. It's in its rightful home, but visually it doesn't look the best. And with trying to sell our house, I know even the littlest things like a closet that holds your cleaning supplies really does matter.
That I think you're beautiful, and now I can't wait to hold you. Yeah, you pull me up when I'm falling down, and I don't know how I would do without you. Yeah, you pull me up when I'm falling down. Hey, now look into my...
So a lot going on with the sale of our house, so many things changing and everything. So I did want to update you guys. You guys are always asking questions about how the sale of the house and everything is going. And honestly, right now, the market is just so slow. I don't know if it's everything with the feds going on right now. I don't know if it's the back to school season, what's going on right now. But our area in general has been really slow. Now, we did just the other day have a showing of a couple, and they really like the house. They're actually coming back on Saturday to see the house again. So crossing our fingers that that works out. But some other things have changed. Some things very sad, but other things that are pretty exciting. So we are very hopeful and hoping that this couple really likes the house, puts in a good offer and everything, and we can just kind of get moving forward with our plans in place. We've really had to pivot and change our plans slightly, and I'll talk more about that later on. But yeah, things are just all over the place. When it comes to buying and selling houses, it definitely is one of the most exciting and stressful times of anybody's life.
Look into my eyes, you can use them as a mirror. You're my ticket to paradise. Hey, now look into my eyes, you can use them as a mirror, baby. You're my ticket to paradise.
Now, since I pulled everything out of this closet anyway, I'm making sure to get in here. I'm using the Mrs. Meyer's Wood for Good to clean off these shelves and everything. They weren't too bad, but they did need a really good dusting. Like I said, I don't get in here often enough to really give them a good cleaning. And then I'm just reorganizing it out. So I have my steamer, I have my vacuum that I specifically use for our mattresses. I don't grab that as often, so I threw that in the back. I ended up putting all those little things that were just hanging around everywhere in this bin. It just looks so much neater, and it still allows me to stick to my unorganized organization. I told you a couple of videos back, I saw a video from the Clutter Bug talking about you need to organize for you on your worst self, because your best self wants the Pinterest perfect organization, but our worst self can't keep up with that. And it's so true. And that is why I love bins, because my worst self, I just throw stuff in. I'm tired, I'm done with cleaning, I don't want to clean my cleaning supplies, and I just threw things in this closet. So that bin is going to make it where I can still just throw things in the closet, but they're still where they're supposed to be. At this point, I'm just dry fitting this bottom area because Bobby was going to put the hanger in there. You can see he did that. I put some nails in the wall so I could hang up my wall mop as well as my duster. And then I'm just plugging all the things. Everything fits so much better in here. I took out my my broom, because I don't know about you, but I don't use my broom often. I still use it, so I don't want to get rid of it, but usually I'm not grabbing for it on the daily. So I ended up putting the broom out into the garage, and then just the stuff I grab for on a regular basis is in this closet. And you can see this before, kind of hectic, kind of crazy. It definitely needed some work. And then the after looks so much better, so much more organized. I feel comfortable that when someone's coming to look at the house and they open this closet, it's like, oh, this is a really nice cleaning closet, instead of, oh, this is a complete disaster.
Midnight's getting closer and I just wanna hold her in my arms till the sun comes up. She's a little bit country. Yeah, she's my country girl. She's a little bit country. Yeah, she's my country girl. Guitar.
The boys' room, like Freya's room, is not too crazy. Once again, just stripping all the beds. That way I could get it all done before the end of the day, and all the beds made again. Little Miss Athena found me. This is all the time anymore. She is so good at crawling and getting around, and she loves being held. Absolutely loves it. Now, don't get me wrong. She is a very good independent player. She will play in her room and just do her own thing, but she's still a baby. So there's times that she just wants mom or she just wants dad. And that is what she did. She crawled right on over to me. I've actually gotten to where she's gotten to a point where even going to the bathroom, I am once again at that age where mom can't even use the bathroom in peace anymore because she follows me in there. But But yeah, that's mom life and totally okay. I'm loving every second of her growing because I know she's our last baby. So I am soaking in every minute of it. But the next thing I really wanted to do is tackle these sofas. I've been wanting to do this and it's been so hectic and crazy I haven't gotten to it. So I'm like, okay, let's do it today. I also saw a trick on a car detailing channel that I wanted to try out on my sofas because as you can see here, we've got a lot of crumbs and a lot of dog hair. And I do clean these fairly often. Like every 3-ish months I do it. Sure, should I probably do it more often? Yeah, but realistically, if I'm being honest, it's probably about every 3 months that I get under here and clean these out. And the fur gets everywhere. But it's always so hard to actually get up all the fur. Now I've learned tricks. I have the little like scraper that helps pull it out. But on a detailing channel, when they were cleaning the carpets, they mentioned they use Windex. They just spritz the carpeting. It's supposed to get rid of the static in the hair, which makes it easier for them to come out. And I'm like, okay, well, if it works in cars, why wouldn't it work on furniture also? So I wanted to give that a try. And I will say, I do think it made a difference. Once again, is it perfect underneath here? No. And honestly, I'm just not going to spend the hours making it perfect, but it does make a huge, huge difference. And then I'm just using my scraper tool. This has just a little rubber edges, which helps cling to that hair to pull it out of the actual fabric because it likes to get in there and weave through, and it can be a complete pain to get up. So this vacuum that I ended up ordering, so it is not a Shark. I will tell you guys that much. And the only reason I got it over the Shark is the reviews and then this upholstery attachment, because I had been using my Shark, the big head, to clean the furniture, and it's just bulky and kind of a pain in the butt. So I was looking for a vacuum that would have the smaller head attachment for specifically my furniture, my headboard, and things like that. And this one had it. And I said, so far I'm happy with it. I've only had it for I've had it for about 2 weeks now, but I've only actually used it for about a week because we were on vacation and everything. So once I have some more data of using it, I will let you guys know. I know things like these are an investment. I want to say this one was about $200, something like that. But getting a good one is really, really important. And I want to make sure that if I'm recommending it, you guys are actually going to like it. But as you guys can see, I put mine to work between cleaning the floors, cleaning the furniture, all the dog hair and everything. They are constantly being a workout. I did find when I moved on, I sprayed it right away and then went to scraping it right away instead of doing the vacuuming first. This was just one less step, and it did help a little bit. And then I tried to see if I vacuumed with the Windex, if that would make a difference. And I do think it did slightly, but you do want to be careful. You don't want to like oversaturate the sofa, because obviously these vacuums don't want like sucking in a bunch of moisture. So I just did a light spritz to help pull up those different hairs, and then just bringing in the brush, getting out the hair and working it. It's just, this is something that it is patience and taking your time to get up all of those hairs. If you have animals, you guys understand. If you have cats, dogs, ferrets, anything with fur, you understand living with fur is something that a lot of people say they can't handle, and I completely understand. But if you are a pet mom like me, you know it's worth the little bit of extra work to have the love of your furry companions.
You can't ask me to surrender when reaching for the dream keeps me alive. 'Cause it's keeping me
And then when it comes to cleaning my leather, most days I'm just using a multi-purpose spray cleaner, but I do like to go in every once in a while with a leather conditioner. It just really helps to keep with the longevity of your leather, keeping it moisturized so it's not going to crack and peel on you. But like I said, most days I just go in with my multi-purpose cleaner. And honestly, even when I use the leather conditioner, I like to go in with this first to clean it and then go in with the conditioner. But talking more about updates when it comes to moving. So as you guys may or may not know, we did find a property that Bobby and I absolutely loved. It was 10 acres. It had a pond on it that was an entire acre of the 10 acres. It was completely fenced off and had an area for animals right away. Like, it seemed perfect. The only issue is one, when we put in an offer, they didn't accept it because we didn't have a contract on our house yet. So our offer was contingent on the sale of our home. And that was something that they weren't willing to work with right away. So we put our house on the market right away. As you can see, that is what we're dealing with right now. But the other issue is we have been having a really hard time getting info from the city to see if we can partial off those 10 acres so that 5 of the acres can be Bobby and mine and the other 5 acres can be my parents. And the reason why that is important is most counties down here, you can have 2 homes on one property, but one of the homes has to be double the size of the other. And that just really makes it difficult because I don't really want a house that's much larger than 2,000 square feet, and my parents don't really want a house that's much smaller than 2,000 square feet. So it makes it difficult, and that's why we really need something that we can parcel off. That way they can build whatever house they want, and we can have whatever house we want. So now we have been also looking at land. We found a 10-acre lot that the realtor on that lot has been so helpful, super helpful, because we've never bought raw land before, and I love the idea of raw land because you can make it whatever you want, but it's scary. Like, it's real scary. You think selling a house and buying a house is scary. Selling a house and buying raw land to make it what you want, that is very scary. But she has been amazing, and she's already talked to the county about parceling off the land in that area where we have currently found a lot. They have to be parceled off into 5-acre plots. And I think this lot it's either just under or just over 10 acres. And the reason I say one of the two is because one survey on the lot had it just under 10 acres. One survey on the lot had it just over 10 acres. And we're like, well, we really need to know, because if it has to be parceled into 5 acres, are they going to have issues with us splitting it in half? And she got all that info for us and was able to get back to us, and that has been really nice. So we're now looking into that possibility as well. My parents also didn't, gotta love that. I had to slow that down. The fur that just accumulates under these sofas are insane. But so my parents also didn't like that one property with how far away it was. Didn't bother Bobby and I. The distance to us, it was no difference than when we lived in Watertown and used to drive to Milwaukee to visit family. But my mom didn't love how far away it was from her job. So that was still one of those things that we were contemplating. Now, nothing's set in stone yet. We're still trying to figure out everything. The biggest thing is we have to sell this house to be able to figure out exactly what we're doing. But then it's also figuring out what type of houses we are looking at. So we've been researching that as well, because if we buy raw land, you got to look into you have to look into septic, you have to look into getting power, lots of things, so many things. I am learning a lot, which, hey, this may be great if you guys have been considering this and it's been stressing you out as much as it's stressing me out, I am going to give you all the tea, all the hard parts, all the parts that we didn't even think about. So that is currently what we have been doing a ton of research on.
While the getting is good, just get while the getting is good. Get while the getting is good.
We got our windows down, driving down the 405, sing along to the radio. We're gonna make it someday, nothing's gonna get in our way. We will be the biggest band in town.
I do love the way the Windex creates these really nice vacuum lines in the under part of the sofa, and it dries perfectly fine. You can see it's a little damp here, and that's why you got the different darker and lighter spots, but it does dry pretty quickly and pretty easily, and you can see it did make a pretty big difference. But man, having this handheld part of the vacuum makes such a massive difference for doing this, just because it's not such a strain. When I use the big head, it constantly move around and flap around because it wasn't well attached, where this just makes it so much easier. And the lights on this, they call this fur eater or something. And part of that is because it can identify anywhere that there's fur so well. And it is very, very true. It's got great lights on that small head. It also has really good lighting on the bigger portion of it. And it lights up all the fur in the house and makes it so much easier, because sometimes you just don't see it. You also could tell earlier, if you looked in the background, I also had the robot vacuum going while I was working all day, because I did plan on going around literally right before we left with our mop vacuum, but I wanted the majority of the fur and sand and stuff to be picked up before I got that out. So I had the robot vacuum kind of just going in all the rooms as we completed them to make it a lot easier. So luckily this ceiling fan wasn't too bad. My ceiling fans always get filthy though so quickly, but I have learned using a pillowcase is a game changer. I've talked about this before, but if you're new here and you've never seen this, I have a specific pillowcase that is purely used for cleaning my ceiling fans. So don't worry, this does not go on any of the pillows that we sleep on. But the reason I love it is as I pull it off, all the dust falls into the pillowcase and not all over my floor. Massive game changer. If you have never used a pillowcase to clean your ceiling fans, I highly recommend it. Into the kitchen. Kitchen wasn't too horrendous. Typical day of dishes out, stuff that had to be put away, dishwasher needed to be unloaded. But once again, we needed to make sure that this house was spotless before we left. And I knew even if we had dishes in the dishwasher, I wanted to run the dishwasher so that if anyone came and looked at the house while we were gone and they opened the dishwasher, because I know when I'm looking at houses, I'm opening up the appliances. If the appliance comes with the house, I want to know what that appliance looked like. I want to make sure it's something that is well taken care of. Not that it would change, at least for me personally, if I saw the dishwasher was in due of being to be replaced, it wouldn't so much make a difference if I would put an offer in on a house, but it would make a difference of me knowing financially what I need to expect. be like, okay, if we buy this house, we're going to have to replace the dishwasher, or we're going to have to replace the refrigerator. So I wanted to make sure that any dishes that might be in here, that we ran the dishwasher before we left. So even if they weren't put away, the dishwasher was clean. They weren't opening it up to an old, musty food smell. You all know what that's like. If you have forgotten to run your dishwasher at night and you wake up in the morning and open that dishwasher and a full night of dishes just sitting in there, it doesn't smell good. No one wants to smell that. So that is everything that I am getting done in here, making sure that the sink is cleaned out, the counters are cleaned off. I told the kids I was not cooking dinner this night because I'm like, I'm getting this kitchen cleaned, and then I do not want to mess it up. I don't want to make dishes. I don't want to mess up the stove or the refrigerator or anything. So it was definitely a easy dinner on this night so that we didn't have to worry about anything. We knew we were leaving at night. That way, we could get there. Oh no, did we leave at night? When did we leave? No, we left in the morning, but it was early morning. It was like 5 a.m. when we left. So either way, I knew I didn't want to make a mess because there was no cleaning that was going to be done at 5 a.m. It was just basically get up and get in the car. However, I will say I was up before 5 a.m. Freya came in our room at 2 a.m. because she had a nightmare. So I spent about 30 minutes dealing with her, putting her back to bed, and then me trying to get back to sleep. And then at 3 a.m., Athena woke up, which is crazy because Athena usually sleeps through the night. She is a really good sleeper. She has been since about 6 months old. So it's not normal for her to be up at 3 a.m. So I got up, made her a bottle, snuggled her for a little bit, put her back to bed. And then honestly, I'm like, I was planning on getting up at 4. It is now 3:30. I've pretty much been up since 2 a.m. I'm just staying up. So thankfully, Bobby did all of the driving to Tennessee because I was way more exhausted than I was expecting to be. So yeah, was not expecting to be woken up at 2 and 3 in the morning. But into our room. So I did not have to clean our entire bedding, but I did want to clean the top comforter of our bed. So threw that in the wash. And then onto our ceiling fan. Our ceiling fan was a lot dirtier than the one in the family room. And this is why the pillowcase method is so nice, because all of this dust and stuff would be landing on my bed if I didn't use a pillowcase. And when I do this, no dust lands on my bed. Some of the cleaner does, but hey, I'm not too worried about it. I love the smell of this cleaner, so if a little sprinkle of it ends up on my bed, it's not the end of the world. But I don't want all those dust chunks and everything ending up on my bed, and that just makes my life so much easier. I did get a lot of questions about what we do with the animals when we are gone. So the dogs stay here, and they have full reign of their room. We call it our dog room. That's our sunroom. So they stay in that room. They're not kenneled or anything. And my parents come over a couple times a day to feed them, let them out, play with them, keep them entertained and occupied. And we've done that ever since we moved down here, and the animals are always fine. We actually have, I am not a fan of security cameras inside of our house. Too many horror stories. Have you guys heard of those like horror stories of people hacking cameras and then just like watching people? Yeah. It freaks me out. So, needless to say, we don't really have security cameras in our house. We have a lot of security cameras outside our house for security reasons. But inside our house, we do not, except for in the dog room. We specifically have a security camera in our dog room. That way, when we are on vacation, we can check on them, make sure they're doing okay. We can talk to them through the security camera and everything. I love being able to check on the animals, and we actually now have a security camera in our backyard, which I have been loving. So not only were we able to check on the dogs when we were gone, but we were also able to check on the ducks, make sure they were all good and everything. I I love our animals. They are like definitely a part of the family. I'll never say they're like our children because that animal babies and human babies are not the same thing, but they are a part of our family, and we always like to make sure that everyone's doing good. And it's kind of nice because my parents do live close enough that when they go on vacation, I take care of their animals. And when we're on vacation, they take care of our animals. Actually, they're going up to Wisconsin in just a couple weeks. So when they're in Wisconsin, I'm going to be going over there a couple times a day to take care of the cats, the birds, and their dogs we actually bring over to our house just because we do have the dog room, and they have little dogs. It's very different when we take their 2 small dogs compared to them taking Bailey. Bailey's a big boy, so he's a lot to handle, and they don't have just like a separate room they can put him in to make sure that there's no territory marking and things like that like we do. But yeah, it's great having them so close. Obviously, once we have land and are living on the same property, it's going to make life even easier. But here you can actually kind of see perfectly how well the lights on this vacuum work to just spotlight all the hair and dust and everything that is on our floor. I love this thing. It makes such a huge difference when it comes to cleaning the floor when you can actually see exactly what you are cleaning up, and it is so bright, so much brighter than any other vacuum that I've had. But like I said, I did a lot of research on what vacuum I wanted to get next and everything, and these are investments. So if you're going to be spending money, you obviously want to make sure that they are really good vacuums, that they're going to last you. And obviously, if you are in a situation where it's maybe just you and your significant other or just you may not need to spend as much on a vacuum. You're not going to be putting it to work as much as our family of 6 with animals do. But if you are like us and you have a big family, or you just have a lot of animals, it is nice to know which ones actually work and give you the longevity. Like I said, our vacuums are only ever last about 3 years. I have noticed that when we've had corded vacuums, they last longer. But I also notice when I have corded vacuums, I don't vacuum as often because there's just something about a cord that makes me grab it less often. So that is why I've gone to having cordless, is I am way more likely to just quickly grab this and clean something compared to having to grab something, plug it in, and then rewind up the cord and all of that. And I know it sounds silly because it's such a simple, basic thing, but certain things like that do make a huge difference.
Kept us bothering. Every day we dance and life's been smiling. We're not young, still drunk in love. Oh, I got you, there's no reason to chasing pavement on my own.
So curious, when it comes to packing, are you an extreme overpacker or like a just enougher packer? I am kind of in the middle. I always overpack slightly, especially when it comes to the kids. But at the same time, I'm usually pretty good at fitting all my stuff into one area. I don't have a lot of shoes and stuff. Like, I wear my flip-flops everywhere. And this suitcase was perfect. I was able to get all of my clothes in here, all of Freya's clothes in here, and all of Athena's clothes in here. I did have to put my small little makeup bag, but it's tiny, in Bobby's suitcase. What else? I don't think I had to put anything else in his. I kept it fairly simple and everything, but because this one actually has a section where it can actually be made a little bit larger if needed, it was great to be able to fit all the girls' stuff in here and made it easily accessible. The boys packed their own things. Obviously, Bobby packed his own things. I was just kind of focusing on Freya, Athena, and myself. And when it comes to the girls, I do overpack. I pack a ton ton of options. One, because I just never know what the weather is going to be and what I'm going to put the kids in. But two, especially Athena, she'll puke, she'll eat something and make a mess of herself. And Freya's kind of the same way. She can get messy super easy. So I often will overpack for the girls just to make sure we have everything. But then the boys helped me put the car together so that we actually could go. It was just kind of a game of Jenga. Is Jenga the right word? I don't know. But when it comes to our moving stuff, so we do have more info probably coming out in Sunday's family vlog. Just trying to figure stuff out, and I don't want to talk about it yet just because we're still trying to see if that's the situation or not. But crossing our fingers that the people that are coming back to see our house Saturday love the house and put in an offer. And then Sunday's video on our family vlog will even go more into details of things that have changed and things that are going on. So if you have been following our moving journey and everything and wondering, there's going to be a lot more there because there's some things that have happened that I'm kind of bummed about. And we've been looking into to see how realistic is. You can see Minnie decided to run out the door. She is not allowed in the front yard because she's a runner. She just decides to go and go and go. Also, it looks like I have a ton of groceries here because I do. I heard that groceries in the mountains are crazy expensive. So we bought a bunch of food to be able to bring with us to not only feed our family, but with Bobby's siblings and parents and the nieces and nephews and everyone being there. We wanted to make sure we had plenty of food to share with everyone. But to finish off this video, I wanted to share some of the photos we got while we were in Tennessee. It was beautiful there. We got to see a bear on our very first day, which was super cool. Bobby's mom, first time holding Athena. Athena did really well. Bjorn with his cousin, and then us going out to the Hatfield and McCoy show. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to comment, share, like this video, all the things. And if you are new here, I would love if you would subscribe. And in our next video, it's another helping hand video. We are helping in a hoarder's garage. It was intense. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Bye.